Welcome to the Kingman Unified School District podcast, where we talk all things KUSD. I'm your host, Claire Whitley. The KUSD podcast is a podcast for parents, students, staff, and the Greater Kingman Area. On this podcast, we're going to talk about upcoming events, school board meetings, things to see, and any news related to our schools. This episode, we're talking about the most recent COVID data, the December school board meeting, history, and upcoming dates to remember. I also sat down with Jerry Arvey, principal of Wallapai Elementary School, for this month's Coffee Talks. As with every podcast so far, there is some updated COVID case data. We've also added a quick and easy dashboard for community members to see our updated numbers as we get them. So if you want to see the most recent stuff, head on over to our website. Please note that in order to protect privacy, the district will not share names or identifying information of any active cases that we have going on. In all cases, the district will follow the direction of Mojave County Health Department. Numbers as of December 3rd have put our total cases as a district at 25, 5 staff, and 20 students. This is across 9 sites and campuses within the district. With all these numbers in mind, we are doing our best to keep our numbers up to date and as transparent as possible. So keep an eye on that community dashboard, keep an ear out for these monthly podcasts, and we'll give you all of those numbers as we get them. On a lighter note, there were a few presentations of gratitude during the school board meeting December 8th. The first was the Kingman Moose Lodge, who has been donating cases upon cases of bottled water to most school sites this academic school year. Sean Savage of the Moose Lodge reported that they have donated 2,200 cases of water, which is about 53,000 bottles since September. So a big, massive thank you to Kingman Moose Lodge. The second presentation came from the Kingman Police Officer Association. The association has presented a donation of $3,250 to the school district. The final presentation was to long-standing board member Bruce Ricca for his outstanding service on the board. Ricca has served the board for 8 years. He was given a plaque and a spectacular send-off. Ricca chose not to seek re-election this year, so his position will be filled by Roger Jacks come January. From all of us here at KUSD, we wish you the best of luck, Mr. Ricca. Thank you for serving on our board, and may good health bless your steps. The board has also gratefully accepted several other donations to the district from you guys in the community, so thank you for your continued support. Due to the rise in COVID cases, the winter sports season has seen some modifications. Both Lee Williams and KHS are practicing right now, but no games are being held until at least January 5th. Of course, the numbers are going to be determining if competitions get delayed further, but games are on track to officially begin after winter break. The AIA uses similar metrics that the school district does, so things are all based off of those case numbers. However, both wrestling and boys soccer at KHS have been canceled since last month due to the lack of participation. Last month, we started our history lesson in the 1900s, and I told you that I was separating the year 1973 from the rest of the century. That is because the year 1973 has made a powerful and profound impact on our district, and it's something that we try to remember every year. Now, like most of history, there are a few heavier moments within KUSD's past, and the year 1973 has those moments. 2 fires devastated the Kingman Public School System that year. The first, January 18th, was a fire at the old Mojave County Union High School building, and the entire building was destroyed and had to be demolished. The second fire was July 5th, 1973. A Doxel Railway gas tanker had caught fire on the tracks in the 2600 block of Andy Devine Avenue. 12 volunteer firefighters responded to the scene. At 2:09 p.m., the tanker exploded. All 12 firefighters lost their lives. The reason that this tragedy is so vital to the history of KUSD is that one of those firefighters was Richard Lee Williams, a former principal of the Mojave County Union High School. The memory of these 12 men lives on in Kingman's second high school, Lee Williams High, on Grandview Avenue, not only in the school's name, but in their mascot, the Volunteers. As a district and as a community, the year 1973 will always be remembered. Next month, we'll finally wrap up this abridged version of KUSD history by jumping forward about 30 years, starting with some big changes that happened near the turn of the century. This month on Coffee Talks, I sat down with Wallapai Elementary School Principal Jerry Arvey. So good morning, Mr. Arvey.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm I'm fine. So first and foremost, I guess, let's just get right on into it and let's talk a bit about you. Who are you when you're not being the principal of Wallapai?
Well, I'm just a husband and dad. I've been married 27 years to a wonderful woman, Cindy Arvey, and I have 5 children. 3 are adults now and graduated and doing their own thing, and I still have 2 in high school. One's a senior and one's a sophomore.
Is your senior excited to graduate?
Yeah, Ryan's real excited about being a senior and about graduating. He's really looking forward to it. He's been my one child that hasn't been a big fan of school. So he's really, but he is having a good experience at Lee Williams High School. Both him and Becca attend Lee Williams, and they've had good experience there.
Does he have any future plans yet?
No, probably go right into the workforce. So that's about it.
And you said Becca?
She's real busy. She plays volleyball, made honorable mention for the region in volleyball, and she's on the basketball team. She's been a 2-year varsity starter. And then she plays tennis. So she's pretty busy and she loves school and loves hanging out with her friends.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also a coach, assistant coach?
Well, when I first went into teaching, when I was a teacher for 10 years. I coached varsity boys basketball for 10 years. And then when I moved to Kingman in 2001 and became an administrator, I pretty much gave that up except for coaching my kids when they were little. And I coached them in my boys in basketball and my girls in basketball and softball. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't have a girls basketball coach and couldn't find one. And Dr. Dorner at the time, she was the principal at Lee Williams. I kind of mentioned her in passing, hey, if you can't find anybody, I'll do it. And she didn't even look any further. She just said, okay, you can do it. And so I've been doing it for 4 years. I had my middle daughter, Madison, was a junior at the time. So I wanted her to have a good experience. So I went back to coaching 4 years ago. This is my 5th year back at Lee.
How long have you been here? Like, how long have you been with the district?
Well, I taught for 10 years. I was a teacher in Idaho for 4. And then I moved to Arizona in 1995-96. And so I was there in a small town called Pima. I taught social studies, U.S. history, government, and world history. And then in 2001, I got my master's degree from NAU, and I applied for the assistant principal job at Manzanita. And Marianne Smith was the principal at the time, and she hired me as the assistant principal. So I was the assistant principal at Manzanita for 3 years. And then Dr. Ford, who was the superintendent at the time, he hired me as the Kingman Junior High principal. And it was Kingman Junior High, just 8th and 9th graders. It was the only junior high in Kingman. And I did it for 7 years, but 2 of the years it was Kingman Junior High. The other 5 years, that's when they made it Kingman Middle School. They built White Cliffs, and we had 2 middle schools. And so I was there for 7 years, I think. And then I've been here at Wallapai for 10.
So what, 19
this
years?
This is my 20th year.
20th year. Woo! You're a veteran now.
Yeah, I think I'm the longest serving administrator in the district. No one's even close. Not even Dr. Dorner or Jerry Woolsey. I'm the longest administrator.
That's cool. Do you have like a plaque for that? Or
no.
Do you want one?
No, not really. I don't need to be reminded how old I'm getting.
So then I'm going to lead right into some of these questions. Some of them are very hard, I'm sure. They're going to be some of the hardest questions that you ever have to answer, but they're coming from your own students here at Wallapai. So the first one from Sophie. What is your favorite soda?
Diet Pepsi. But I can exchange Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke. But actually, real Pepsi and real Coke were my favorites. But in order to not get hugely large, I switched to diet about 25 years ago. And so I drink Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke mostly. But Diet Pepsi is my number one favorite.
Are you one of those people that like you can switch between, or you're like die hard Pepsi's the best?
I was die hard Pepsi for the longest time, but now I switch in or out. Whichever fountain works the best.
All right. One from Gibson and Angela. What is your favorite song?
My favorite single song. I don't know if I have a favorite one, but I guess I would choose Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. I'm a child of the 60s and 70s and 80s, and so classic rock is what I'm all about, and Kansas was one of my favorite groups, and I've always considered myself sort of a wayward son, so Carry On Wayward Son would probably be my favorite. From
Kyler and Sophia, what is your favorite thing to do?
Well, favorite thing to do, the pat answer is do things with my family, anything with my kids. Like I said, I have 5 kids, 3 girls and 2 boys. We're pretty much a sports family. So if I have keys to a gym, we'll find a gym and we'll go play volleyball or basketball or whatever. So my kids have kind of benefited from me being a principal because I've had access to a gym quite a lot. As far as a hobby, I don't really have any except for maybe gardening and landscaping. I totally redid my backyard this summer, and when the COVID thing came out and we were out of school in the spring, I started it and worked on it all summer. And I'm getting older, so I'm a little slower, so it still needs a little bit more work, but I like working on my backyard, and I've got a lawn in my backyard and in my front yard, one of the few Arizonans that does. And so my water bill's kind of high, but I love grass. I grew up in Southern California. My mom still lives in the same house I grew up in. She's been there for since 1964. So she's been there a long time. And so I was used to grass and things like that. So I would say gardening and landscaping is kind of a little hobby of mine. Nothing major, just at my own house.
And then do you garden like for vegetables, or are they flowers?
No, flowers and shrubs and bushes and grass and stuff. We had a garden one time with vegetables and stuff, but then we got too many gophers. And I was tired of the gophers, so I said we're never going to do that anymore. So...
What ones do you have that are the most prolific? What flowers do you have that are...
I grow, I don't even know their names. The gold ones and whatever comes back year after year. So I guess they're called annuals. Perennials die off every year, so I just get whatever. I get whatever looks kind of cool. I like to have a lot of color. So if I go see a bush that flowers red, I'll get that, and some yellow and red. So that's kind of, what's the name of that one flower that you see all around town? Everybody has them. It's a yellow one that comes out. I can't remember the name of it, but I like that one because it spreads easy. I think it's called lantana.
All right, we have one from Ernie. What is your favorite car?
My favorite car would probably be a 68 Mustang. I love it. As a matter of fact, our day custodian here, Brett, he has a really nice Mustang. I think it's a 2003, and it is beautiful. But I would say my favorite car is a 68 Mustang.
All right, one from Raylan. What movie do you watch over and over?
Clint Eastwood movie. I can watch almost all of his movies, but The Outlaw Josie Wales. I watch that like twice a year. I think it's got some of the best lines in a movie. But there's a lot of movies I like. Big Trouble in Little China. I'll watch that quite a bit because it's hilarious. What other ones do I really like? I like almost any sports movie. I watch those. Remember the Titans and those kind of movies. Almost any Rudy, any kind of sports movie I just really enjoy. Miracle's one of my favorites. If I had to die on an island with one movie I had to watch all the time, it would be Outlaw Josie Wales.
One from Hayden. What do you like to eat for dinner?
Well, my favorite food is steak. I'll take a steak any day of the week. My mom's Mexican, so she would make homemade burritos. So those were always great. Homemade tortillas, but steak anytime. My wife's cooking is really good, so she makes this steak and potato stew type thing. We just had our anniversary a couple weeks ago. She made that for our anniversary because it was one of the first meals she made for me when we got married, and it's my favorite. So I like it, but I like anything with beef. I go medium, right smack down the middle. I like them all. T-bone, New York. I like prime rib. Prime rib is my favorite. I love prime rib. I get a big, thick, juicy piece of prime rib, and I just love it.
So this is one of the ones that was the most asked from the first grade class by Connor, Elizabeth, Ella, Ryan, Adeline, Addison, and Callum. What is your favorite sport?
Favorite sport's basketball. I played it in high school, and I've coached it for a long time. But I like a lot of sports. I like football. I like baseball. I like the standard sport, but basketball is my favorite, and watching it and playing it.
Do you have a favorite team?
I used to. I grew up in Southern California, so I grew up loving the Lakers. And then when I got older and Larry Bird came into the league, I became a Celtics fan immediately and loved the Larry Bird and the Celtics. I don't have a favorite team much now. I probably would say the Phoenix Suns because I live here in Arizona, so I kind of follow the Suns. But more now, I follow players. If there's a player I like, football or baseball or basketball, I mostly like that. I'm still a big Dodgers fan, though. If I still have a team that I like from my younger days, it would be the Dodgers. Everything else, if there's a player I like, then I follow that team.
So then what's your current person you're following, current player that
Well, with the COVID thing, there hasn't been very much to follow. But the Dodgers, I've been following them because they won the World Series this year, so it was really nice. So,
and then kind of as a follow-up to that, we have another from a different Sophia. Do you like to play sports?
I used to. I don't play now. I had knee replacement surgery a year ago, so I don't do much in sports anymore. But I used to love to play. Heck, I love playing kickball until my knee I'd go out and play kickball with the kids out at the playground. So kickball, I would say that's probably one of my favorites. I still like playing basketball. I'll shoot around with my kids.
All right, one from Jeremiah. What is your favorite animal?
Oh, favorite animal. I would say wild animal. I like probably all the predators, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, I like them, but I like eagles. Tame animals. My family would say I don't like dogs, but I do like dogs. Yeah. I just don't like poor dog owners. And my family, we are poor dog owners. We don't do very well with dogs. We love to hug them and cuddle them, and then after that, we don't want anything to do with them. But I like dogs too. We've got two, like a Labradoodle. They're called Golden Doodles. We got two. They're a year old. Their names are Rocky and Bailey, and they're both males. They're both about 65 pounds. We got them for Ryan and for Becca.
All right, and then the last one from Raylan, Lily, and Renna. What is your favorite color and why?
Probably blue, and I don't know why. Just because I kind of like it, but a lot of my clothes are blue. I don't really particularly like powder blue, but navy blue. I like the dark blue. That's probably my favorite color.
Well, that's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks, Claire. It's been fun, and I want to thank all the students that asked questions.
There are a few upcoming dates to remember going into December. The fall semester is wrapping up, which means finals will be held the 16th and 17th. December 17 also marks the end of the second quarter and the last day before winter break. Winter break officially begins December 18th and continues through December 31st. So third quarter will begin Monday, January 4th. Report cards are also due that first week in January, so keep an eye out for those. Also, this is a reminder to all community members, staff, and students, we are currently still on an A-B schedule. At the time of this recording, that will not be changing by the end of semester. But our website is updated regularly with new numbers, and we also have a cool little color-coded pop-up that will let you know immediately if we are going to be changing that. So if you need some updated information, go ahead and head on over there. All of that being said, I'd like to wish you all a very happy holiday season. Students, take some time to enjoy the break. You have 2 weeks to relax and enjoy time with your families. Parents and community members, enjoy this time that you have with your families and your students. 2020 has been a rough year, but it really makes you appreciate these moments with your loved ones. So embrace this season of perpetual hope, and let's look forward to 2021. Be safe, be well, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and New Year. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for listening to this episode of the KUSD podcast. To get even more news and information, check out our website at www.kusd.org. We are Kingman Unified. Talk to you in 2021.